I began my stint as a student of Brock in the second grade. It was a rainy day, indoor recess, and it was a mob of claustrophobic 7-year-olds trying to amuse themselves until the bell rang. I was playing a word game with my best friend Jill. I was having a blast. And I was so young then. I was too young for makeup, too young for a perm, young enough to wear Disney characters on my clothes. Jill was lanky, a head taller than all the boys. She had teeth she still had to grow into, you know that. But I always remember feeling so comfortable with Jill until the day Brock strolled up. Brock Emig was his name. He strolled up and bellied up to our desk that we were playing on like a badass at the bar. Brock was a skater. His hair went every which way. He wore an oversized Burton t-shirt and a chain wallet. He was 7. And he never seemed to care what anyone thought of him. He was my first experience of a bad boy, and I had no idea what to make of him. So we walked up, and he measured us both up and down, and looked us over, and he said, "What are you guys doing? Are you studying during recess? I'm going to call you Brain, and I'm going to call you Brain too." And there it was, the ultimate teaching of my childhood. Boom, like a shot in the dark. The lesson was this: in order to be liked, especially by boys, you need to be cute and dumb. Got it? And because no one told me otherwise, I subscribed by this belief system for 10 more plus years of my life. Time went on, and I was never really a friend of Brock's, but he was always in the periphery. And I weighed and measured my actions according to what I thought would be worthy of Brock and his kind. Jill and I went separate directions. I went down the path of boy chasing, eating disorders, depression, confusion. She went with her friends and family. And in high school, Brock had a crush on my friend Anna. Anna was 16, we were 14. Anna was well endowed, but skinny as a stick everywhere else. And she acted dumb as a rock, even though she always got better grades in Spanish than me without even trying. So one day she invited me to come with her to go over to Brock's house to watch him be in love with her. And so I did, and we got to Brock's room. He was living with his parents, he was 14. The room was the most horrifying experience that I've seen of a room. Let me paint you a picture. He had dismembered Barbies and baby dolls with the eyeballs scratched out, hanging from the ceiling. So this is where I have to hanging from the ceiling as if by nooses. And I took a moment, and Anna leaned over to me and she said, "Isn't he a bad boy?" So then we climbed into her parents' 2-door sedan and went for a drive, and we parked by the lake. The two of them were in the front, I was in the back, invisible. I looked down next to me, and there was a bag of marshmallows in the seat next to me in this car. And the moment that happened next was one of those moments that's calcified in my memory for all time. It so perfectly depicted my experience of my teen years, that desperation and that confusion. And even to tell the story now is heartbreaking. But what I did was this. I said, "Hey guys, you're never gonna believe how many marshmallows I can stuff in my mouth at one time." And I had their attention. They turned around, and I began stuffing and shoving and stuffing. And the looks on their face turned to repulsion. But I still had their attention, so I kept stuffing and stuffing until too many marshmallows, and one lodged in my throat. And I couldn't breathe. Panic in my body, panic on my face. They're looking at me, no one's moving. I'm wiggling, I'm not sure, I'm stuck in the back seat, and then movement. And I slug Brock's arm to get him to get out of the front seat. Because 2 doors, you gotta get out of the front seat for the person in the back to get out. And I lunged across the seat and I vomited all over the ground by his shoes. They both drove me home in a torturous, dead silence. And I'd love to say that all-illuminating marshmallow experience was where I turned my tide and changed my ways. But it wasn't at all. I had many, many more years of making self-disastrous decisions, and it was a long road of recovery from being a school of rock. Luckily, I've landed here, and that's another story slam, but I've landed here in a place of relative sanity and lots of love and acceptance. And when I look back now at the Brock years, I can't help but think of it as if it were a time in a cult, where I was fully brainwashed. But the funny thing is, Brock and I are friends now on Facebook. And Jill and I are too. Not Anna. But Jill has a wonderful family, a sparkling eyes, and she did grow beautifully into her teeth. And Brock is a narcissistic mess, and he's got a showy tattooed girlfriend. The boobs are always up, okay. And sometimes I linger over those photos. I can't tell you exactly why, but I think it's because I need reminded that sometimes the best, most crucial lessons are the ones we need to unlearn.